Hello, my peoples. Welcome to the Michelle Files. I am Michelle Files, hence the name. And today I want to talk to you about something that I have called the happily ever after syndrome. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, if you think about it when you read a book, and look, I ain't hating on any happily ever after authors because I'm an author too, and when I write books, I want happily ever after. That's where I'm going to put my characters when we all said and done. It only seems right after I torture the crap out of them. Anyhow, so as a writer, as a reader, I love happily ever after. It's awesome. Makes me feel good. Warms and fuzzies, right? Wonderful. However, in life, we have to be careful of that because if you think about it, or this is at least how I view it, there are things in my life that are considered my happily ever afters. They're my dreams. There are dreams I have for my career, for my person, for my family, for just my life altogether. And to me, those are my happily ever afters. Okay? So we have to be careful, though, with whatever happily ever after is, that we're seeing it in the right perspective. Because if we're not seeing it from the right perspective, things can get out of balance and we can make a muck of things, like a big muck. Messy, icky, mucky muck. Okay, so what do I mean? So for me, here's an example. I had one of my happily ever afters, or one of my always and forevers, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, that's kind of my thing, always and forever. One of those things was I had this dream for my career that I would be a professor and a writer. It was this dream I've had forever and ever, and I started working towards that before Chris died 7 years ago, so it was like a serious thing of mine. I was like, this would be perfect, because I had this picture in my mind of what that would be like, that this happily ever after would be, I would teach full time, and I would have meaningful work, and I would have time to write and just this flexibility in my life to do all of these wonderful things that I wanted to do. So when I, 2 years ago, got a full-time teaching job, I was excited. It came on the heels of a loss. It came on the heels of my mother-in-law passing away. And I was so excited because I just felt like, oh, thank you, God. Like, this is my new beginning. Like, this is my happily ever after. And this is the start of me walking into this life that I know you've promised me. And this is the career part. So that means soon I'll meet my person. And then after that, I'll have my family. And everything's just going to come together all because of this job. Anybody laughing? Anybody rolling their eyes? Because seriously, y'all, it's a wonderful thought. But it's not really grounded in reality. And I'm not being pessimistic when I say that. The truth is, just as the Bible tells us, in this life we will have troubles. In this life we will have trouble. So even in things that we believe are happily ever afters, they're not going to be perfect. But I thought it was supposed to be. And that caused me some grief. So I started this job. I'm so excited, right? And because of who I am, I put so much of who I am into what I do. That's how I'm made. And I'm really excited and I'm trying these things. And to be fair, I also was holding on to other obligations at the same time I started full time. So it was crazy for me because I had a significantly greater course load than I typically would have started with. Okay? I go into it, I'm like, yes, like I was busting my butt and I was teaching and I was doing all these great things and I have met all these wonderful students and I have wonderful coworkers and I am not happy. I am not happy at all. I am not resting appropriately. I was so sad, and I couldn't even understand why I was so sad. And I was very disappointed that things weren't working out the way I thought they were. And then there was this moment where I was like, I met this person, and I was like, okay, great. Here we are. We're back on track for happily ever after. And everything's going to be great. And all of these pieces that I just want so desperately to come together are about to come together. I could see it. It didn't work that way. It didn't work that way at all. So, this job at a place I love, with people I love, but I don't love my work. And this person that came into my life and left my life. I felt like the biggest failure ever. I was sad because things weren't working like I thought my happily ever after should work. And I missed my friends. I missed my family. I was so sad and so disappointed that I fell into depression again. And I had the hardest time trying to find hope that any of what I thought was my fairy tale happily ever after beginning was not that at all. And I thought it was all my fault, that I did something wrong. Maybe I wasn't worthy of a happily ever after. And here I am in this job that I prayed for, that I wanted so badly, and it didn't feel right. No matter how hard I tried. It was so hard. And there are two parts to that. One part is what I thought I wanted as my happily ever after wasn't really meant to be my happily ever after. And it really wasn't right for me. And I didn't know that until I tried it. The other part was I had thought that when I had this feeling, right as I was moving into my office, I had this feeling. It was like God was saying to me, Michelle, this is where we start over. And when I heard that and I felt that and I know that was true, I thought that meant this is where we start over. Your person will be here next. Your family will be here next. You're going to have this job and you're just going to just set the world on fire. This is exactly what I made you for, right? That's exactly what I was hoping. That's what I thought was happening. And it wasn't. It was, this is what I made you for right now. This is what you need right now. But it's not going to be forever. This is not your forever. This is not the rest of your life. No. This is where I need you right now. For someone who, like me, who's had my share of losses and ones that, significantly altered my life, it's hard. It is hard when something isn't there to stay. Because I just want something to stay so bad. So bad. And I've come to realize that what I thought was my happily ever after really wasn't meant as that. But I didn't know that until I tried it. And that's okay. But oh man, I beat myself up about that for a while. And the other part is, I was looking at what happily ever after meant all wrong. Happily ever after isn't real life. It's not. Because when I think happily ever after, I think perfection. Peace, happiness, love, perfection. But in this life, you will have trouble. So I can hear that and I can get really disappointed. I could get extra sad, right? This is the thing. I'm not. Not now, anyways. Because the other part of that verse is take courage. In this life, you will have trouble, but take courage because I have conquered the world. So to me, that means don't give up on those dreams that you have. Just know that on this side of heaven, your happily ever after will not be perfect. And you may have happily ever afters for a time and a few happily ever afters for the rest of your life. But whatever they are, they won't be perfect. And that's okay. And sometimes there are going to be people, there are going to be jobs, there are going to be projects, there are going to be opportunities in your life that feel perfect for you, completely perfect. And once you start to live that and experience that, you're going to realize they're not perfect for you. They're not, and let's change that word, they're not right for you. And they might have been right for you when you started, but they're not right for you in that moment. I mean, sometimes things are just right for a time. And if we're lucky, if we're fortunate, there will be certain relationships and jobs that are right for the rest of our lives. But there's going to be a lot less of the right for the rest of our lives and a lot more of the right for the time. How do we find happiness in that? How do we find happiness in, not an ever after, but happiness in today? It's this phrase, this thing that I have. I actually have a little like wall quote thing of it. And it is the hardest thing, but it is the most important thing for us to continuously do for ourselves. It is find joy in the journey, not the destination. We are going to spend the rest of our time on this earth on a journey. Every day is a new day. It is a part of the journey. Our destinations are a lot less frequent than our travel days are. So if we cannot find joy in where we are today, we're going to miss out on so many potential happy days in our lives. Here's the thing about joy. You can be sad and still have joy. You can be hopeful and still have joy. You can be really heartbroken and still have joy in your life. For me, I have joy because I'm here. I am here today, and there's a purpose for me breathing, and there's a purpose for you breathing, and even if it hurts to breathe today, because sometimes it just hurts to breathe, even if you don't have the Rona or a breathing problem. Sorry. But sometimes just getting up and just breathing hurts, because sometimes it just hurts to be alive. but it's a joy to be alive. Once we take the pressure off ourselves, the undue pressure, don't get me wrong, certain amounts of pressure are important, and we need that. We need that to keep ourselves motivated and moving toward the good things. But that undue pressure, the pressure that stops you in your tracks, that pressure, that's not good. We need to figure out how to let go of that. And usually we're the ones putting that pressure on ourselves. So we have to learn that it's okay that this job we thought would be the answer to all our problems isn't the answer to all our problems. And it's okay because it was a gift. All things work together for our good. Being someone who's had a lot of crap, I can look back and see how that's been turned and made into good things in my life. Same is true for you. Sometimes it's just a little hard to see. But once you know it's okay to be sad for the things you don't have yet, or miss those, your heart aches for those dreams you have, for your career aspirations, for these projects, for these babies that you want, for your partner, for just whatever it is that your heart aches for. You can have a heartache and you can have joy at the same time. You can have a heartache and still be grateful and thankful that you're here. Because the fact that you're here is such a gift. Even when it doesn't feel like it. So don't fall into that happy ending trap. It'll keep the joy out of your life. You deserve joy in your life. And there will be troubles. But we can still find joy. Even in terrible, terrible moments. Yeah. So don't fall into that terrible thing that I did to myself for 2 years. Don't fall into that unbalanced thinking that a person or a job or a child is going to fix all the problems in your life. It's not true. A person may be good for you, a job may be good for you, but that person or that job isn't going to heal all of the wounds that are in your heart. It's also putting undue pressure on something. So, don't do the things that I did wrong. And if you did, don't beat yourself up about it. Just don't do it again. And if you do it again, don't beat yourself up about it. Keep trying. So, I think that's all I got to say about that happy ending syndrome. Something that I want to talk about later is hope. Because, oh man, I struggled for a long time to keep my hope. So we'll save that for another day. But today, don't fall into that happy ending trap. Just don't do it. Be better than me. Be smarter than me. Be you. And I will see you on the flip side. Have an awesome day. And don't give up on those dreams. Just see them with a different lens.